Welcome to Centered with J.C. Polanco, where we give a platform to centrists, independents, and anyone tired of political extremes. Our guest today has been a fixture in New York City life for decades. And that's Guardian Angel's founder, activist, radio host, and former and current mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa. He's back in the race for 2025, and we're going to get into the city's activities. We're going to get into why he's running, what's changed, and what his vision is for the city. Curtis, welcome to Centered.
Oh, my pleasure, JC. I just miss you with that bow tie.
You keep making fun of me. I don't want to wear it anymore. Hey, Curtis, for those who know you as the founder of the Guardian Angels, but maybe not as a political figure, how would you describe your vision for New York City today?
My vision is right up the middle because I'm getting vertigo from all of the adversaries here. Notice, just within the last 2 weeks, Zohran Mamdani and his apologists have said whatever he tweeted or said before he was sworn into office as an assemblyman on January 1st of 2021, even though he was elected on November 4th of 2020, discarded. Youthful indiscretion. Now all of a sudden he has a renewed, refined respect for the police because of the death of Officer Islam. Bullschnizzle. You know that. This is typical political mumbo jumbo. Then you see Andrew Cuomo, who gave the finger to Donald Trump in the primary, now saying, well, that was the primary. I had to do that. This is the general election. You got to be nice to President Trump. Typical pivot and shift. And then Eric Adams, one and done, who sold himself a dispensation from going to jail and being a cellmate of Bobby Menendez, because, let's face it, Eric Adams is corrupt. The president saved him, and now he's continuing on his corruption tour as he's getting wine-dined and pocket-lined by the real estate industry, even though I warned them, you're Santa Claus, because he's brought all of his crooks back to his campaign. I'm the only guy who's focused, who stays on point, who rides the subways, talks in the streets to the working-class people of the city that are the backbone. They can't leave even if they wanted to. So they're all part of my movement, Improve, Don't Move, as we not only battle Zohran Mamdani and the Democratic Socialists of America, but we also go into those neighborhoods where the only Republican they've ever seen is Abraham Lincoln on a $5 bill. And as you know, JC, people don't look at me as a Republican. They say, that's Curtis. He's been there for us all these years. He's got our back.
Curtis, you've just completely gone on the attack on absolutely everyone running for mayor. You've attacked Mamdani. Do you think Mamdani is getting a free pass by the press? What is your position on it?
Oh, yeah, but he's also getting a boost every time Donald Trump, the president, intervenes. Zohran Mamdani prefers to actually campaign against Donald Trump than Adams, Cuomo, or Sliwa, because it's like David versus the Goliath. It just strengthens him.
Yeah.
And the president doesn't seem to understand that. He does not have any sway in New York City. So I've advised the president, who can't stop himself from intervening. 1 minute he's talking to Eric Adams on one of his 7 burner phones that were in the federal report. Or Andrew Cuomo, who lies now and says, I never talked to the president. Come on, Andrew, you're lying.
But Curtis, the governor said that he called President Cuomo. He called President Trump after the assassination, but hasn't spoken to him since. Now, you think, JC, wouldn't that be the kiss of death? Don't you think that along the lines of the logic, considering what an Assemblyman Mamdani, now Mayor Mamdani, would mean to the Republican Party, wouldn't it be in the best interest of President Trump for there to be a Mayor Mamdani for the midterm elections next year?
Well, there is a part of the Republican Party establishment in Washington, D.C. that is more concerned about the midterm elections. And to a degree, President Trump is, because you know what that would be? 2 years of total chaos, impeachment hearings, The Democrats would have the majority. They would have the committee chair people. They would launch all kinds of investigations, retaliation in this tit for tat game that exists. So they don't want to see Hakeem Jeffries as the speaker. And I get that. And they want to make the face of the Democratic Party Zohran Mamdani. And that would assure that the Republicans probably maintain the majority and have Speaker Johnson in charge. But I'm concerned about New York City. And I don't know what's going on in Washington. Notice, I haven't been invited to Washington. I don't go to Mar-a-Lago. I don't talk to Donald Trump. I'm respectful of the president. Yeah. But my concerns are for the city that I was birthed in. I've never left. Unlike Eric Adams, who lives in Fort Lee, apartment 22H, with, I don't know if it's his boo, his girlfriend, whatever, Tracy.
Yeah, Curtis. Talk about now, Centered with J.C. Polanco, no nonsense conversations. Looks like you came in here with an axe today, Curtis. Holy smokes.
Well, because I'm tired of all this.
I hear you, man.
It's just nonsense. You had Andrew Cuomo, last he lived was Mount Kisco in Westchester. Hadn't been back to the city since the 90s. He needs a global positioning system to guide him around in his muscle car. He's just trying to get back on track. I'm the only candidate who's actually in the subways and streets. Zohran lost that. He had that mojo, but now he's guarded by NYPD cops armed. He's driven around in the SUV. He's not a man of the peeps anymore. In fact, Zohran, instead of advocating that he have social workers to protect him, is now actually having the very cops that he hated, he despised, he loathed. Can't you see, J.C. Polanco? All of them are sanctimonious hypocrites. They're only interested in one thing, power.
Curtis,
the power that comes with being the mayor.
Curtis, look, you've run before. I want to know what's different this time. I mean, I hear this is the Curtis we've heard forever. I feel it as I ask you these questions. You've run before. How's your race different this time around? I saw that you qualified for matching funds, and I'm trying to figure out, what did Curtis learn from the first rodeo that he's picked up on the second time around?
Let's be specific, JC. I outraised Zohran Mamdani, the money-raising machine. I got $2 million in matching funds, more than Zohran.
Congratulations.
Eric Adams got zero because the Campaign Finance Board says you can't trust this guy with these straw donors. And Andrew Cuomo apparently was late in filing. Come on,
I heard he wasn't campaigning for that time period. What do you think?
Oh, please. Come on, JC. Stop making excuses
No, this is a program. We have no nonsense here. I'm just asking. He says I wasn't even on the race. But you did raise $2 million.
You got to raise money. He's only got $1 million at hand, and that'll go quick with the kind of people he's hired to basically do his social networking now. Camera people, filters, Stop trying to be Zohran Mamdani, Adams, and Cuomo. Be yourself. Stay on Facebook. That's your lane. Everything else is just too much for you. Meantime, you know where I am? I'm talking to people about the issues that are of importance to them. Let's define why I'm different than these three Democrats, because they are Democrats. They want non-citizens to vote. I don't. They believe in a sanctuary city. I don't. I say charter reform should have put it up, and that's Eric Adams, who had two chances to put it up for a vote. I trust the people, not the politicians. If they had voted to keep Sanctuary City, I'd have to live with it. But I believe in my heart of hearts, being in all 350 neighborhoods, that the people would have voted it down. That's why Eric Adams didn't put it up for a vote in the last election cycles, because that would have been the end of the money train. Where you have these no-bid contracts and then the kickbacks that come with Sanctuary City. And then, imagine, here's Zohran Mamdani saying, free bus fare. I laugh because I'm on the buses all the time. Half the people, JC, don't even pay the fare to begin with.
I know. I can't believe it. You're right, Curtis. I go in and I'm the only clown that waves my phone on that thing.
Right. And now you had Cuomo yesterday do a spin. Anybody making less than $48,000 a year will not have to pay the subway fare and the bus fare. Who's going to pay for all of this? In their desire to try to spin and get voters, people understand the messages are changing fast and furiously. The only person who has remained the same all throughout this chaos and this period of political vertical is Curtis Sliwa. And that's why my numbers are rising. I'm surging. And not only did I raise more money than all the other candidates, but The money keeps coming in from average, everyday, hardworking, blue-collar people. My average donation is $119. I don't have billionaires and zillionaires. All three of them do now, JC. I'm the people's mayor.
Curtis, let me ask you. You know, you've seen me on TV. I keep doing the analysis as to how I view this. I view the Democratic Socialists of America, who are becoming increasingly powerful. I mean, they have usurped what county committees used to be responsible for. They've usurped the role of unions. They're getting people elected. They're beating incumbents, longtime incumbents. Look, I think about Felix Ortiz. I think about Joe Lento. I go down the list, right? I'm looking at Joe Crowley. I'm looking at 10 different incumbents have lost their positions to the Democratic Socialists of America. And I think that the mainstream Democrats in New York City have some major, they have a major issue with hubris. And I think it's hubris in the first degree. We had a chance to get nonpartisan primary elections put on the ballot this time around. It was going to give an opportunity for independents like me and the 1.1 million other independents to get an opportunity to vote in the local primaries. Curtis, get a load of this. 99% of all elections in New York City are decided in a June closed party primary where some people win with 1% or 2% turnout. Having an open primary would have given independents an opportunity to vote and have a say so that we really have skin in the game. The mainstream Democrats completely objected to having independents vote in their local primaries. The problem is that mainstream Democrats seem to forget that independent voters become independents because we're tired of political extremes. And if given the opportunity, we would vote for the mainstream regular Democrat over the DSA. So they tanked it. And we're not going to see nonpartisan primaries in the Charter Revision Commission vote on the ballot. Curtis, what's your position on nonpartisan primary elections? Should New York City have
Well, JC, it's obviously you're not a Republican because that would destroy the Republican Party in New York City. I mean, come on. With ranked choice voting and Democrats, they would dominate that. That wouldn't be fair. And by the way, if you notice, it was Eric Adams who was vacillating with that too. I'm more concerned about the issues that affect everybody. Put on Charter Revision should have put up the issue of Sanctuary City. You would have had a tremendous rush of supporters of Sanctuary City and those who say we shouldn't be a sanctuary city. You would have increased voter participation, but Eric Adams decided not to do that. What you're advocating will destroy the Republican Party. About the only person who could get elected at that point, because this would affect city council people, would be Frank Morano on the South Shore of Staten Island, because that's all red, that's all Republican. But every other area that has Republicans will get wiped out if your plan will put into effect.
If my plan of allowing independents to vote in closed party primaries, it would at least give us an opportunity to have a say, and you keep the crazies out. Think about it. Don't you agree?
No, because you chose to be an independent. I was an independent. I was the chairman of the Reform Party of New York State. And here was Andrew Cuomo, who decided how dare Cynthia Nixon challenge him on the Working Families Party line. So he decided to try to destroy all the third parties, which I was a supporter of. Remember, he wiped out the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the Independence Party, the Reform Party. The only party that actually was strengthened was the Working Families Party, and they've come in an act of vengeance and revenge, Cuomo style, against him. He actually made them stronger. And now you only have two independent parties, Conservative Party statewide and Working Families Party. And all these new Zohran Mamdani people that they are registering to vote, because you can register new voters right on up to the start of the 10 days of early voting. They're registering Working Families Party. They're not registering Democrats. You know, the Democrats don't say anything. They're so frightened. Oh, the socialists have taken us over. They actually spent $7 million to convince Jews who had become Republicans to vote for Trump to change their party affiliation to help us beat the socialists. They've lost their moxie. They have no culions. They won't even fight their own fights. Did they not allow Bernie Sanders to run against Hillary? He was never a Democrat. Still
he wasn't.
Joe Crowley, who would have been Hakeem Jeffries now,
Right.
didn't even bother to campaign against AOC, didn't even know there was another part of his district across the Whitestone Bridge in the Bronx. They
But
never
that's
saw
my
him.
problem, Curtis.
Well, they
What
don't want to
happens
battle for
is
their
that the
party.
extremes win when you allow for party purity to reign the day in June.
Well,
Come on,
get your
Curtis.
moderate Democrat friends to actually run a primary and fight and raise money and find good candidates. Eric Adams never did that as mayor. He never tried to build a bench. And you
Curtis,
haven't seen Kathy Hochul do that either.
Curtis, let me ask you a question. I gotta ask, with 4 independent candidates, wouldn't it make more sense for you to try to make peace with the other independent candidates so that you can win them over and get their support so that maybe you can go mano a mano against Assemblyman Mamdani? I'm thinking along the lines of what Mamdani did during the primary, where he said, hey, I'll help you, Speaker Adams, raise money. Hey, Lander, I'll be there for you. And he won by bringing people in that he was running against. Considering your situation where you have 4 other candidates trying to take out Assemblyman Mamdani, don't you think that would be a better strategy? What are your thoughts?
J.C., you certainly have lost your Republican roots.
Oh, a long time
I'm
ago.
certainly not. I'm not an independent.
No, I
I'm
didn't
a
say you
major.
were. No, Curtis. I mean,
Right, but
English is
who
my
are the
second
four?
language. I'm sorry. I said
Right,
what I
but
meant. You're
I
a
understand, but
Republican.
who are the four? Who are the 4 independents? All I keep.
No. Time out, Curtis. I said there are 4 other candidates, you and 3 independents running against Assemblyman Mamdani. That's what I meant.
Right,
Pardon
right.
English is my second language. I may misspeak here and there. Go ahead.
It's got something against the Republicans here,
No,
JC.
no. I like you. You're a Republican. I like a lot of
I understand.
Republicans. My former
But let's
home.
look at it. Where did this idea come from? A guy who's in 1% of the polls. What is that guy's name? You couldn't identify him in a police lineup. Jim Walden, who has been an attorney for Cuomo before. Let's get everyone in a room in September and basically see who's ahead in the polls. Well, everybody pays for their own polls. We've seen that. You can't even trust the polls. They had Cuomo 2 weeks before the primary, 40 points ahead of everybody, and he got his butt kicked. So this idea that they're going to somehow whittle it down to one person, that never has worked. When Trump was rising up the ladder in 2016, all these traditional Republicans panicked. Hey, you got to all drop out. You got to make it Cruz versus Trump. Well, guess what? They all dropped out, and it just strengthened Trump. It never works, JC. My supporters are never going to support Eric Adams. His supporters are never going to support me. And Cuomo's supporters, come on, let's face it. There aren't that many out there because everywhere I go, they say, oh, Cuomo, smacking fannies and killing grannies.
Curtis.
You'll never get my vote.
No, Curtis. Think about this, though. I'm not talking about everyone dropping out. I'm talking about seeing pics, CBS, New York One polls come out, and they show that you have a shot. Wouldn't it be better for former Governor Cuomo and Jim Walden and Eric Adams to see and say, we're going to have to do everything we can to stop Mamdani. Let's go with Sliwa. Wouldn't it make sense for you to try to make peace with these people now?
JC, you become part of the political elite.
Me?
Because I trust you. I trust people.
Yep.
Let them vote. That's what democracy is about.
Yep.
Why do you want to deprive people of an opportunity to choose the candidate of your choice? So that means people who gave me money, people who said, run, Curtis, run. I should now say, you know what? Why don't you vote for that other guy or vice versa? Let me tell you what the rules are, JC. If you decide to drop out, you're still on the line, independent or Republican. Number 2, you raised money in campaign finance matching funds. You got to give every penny back. You've already spent it, JC.
You've raised $2 million. You're not going to do that. You've raised $2 million, Curtis. I'm not telling you to do that.
Give it all back.
No.
It'll be.
But don't you want? Let's say that you're the guy in the. Let's say you're it, Curtis. Let's say that it shows that you're the guy who can't take him on.
No, they all have a right to run. That's what America is about.
Okay.
See, I am a man of the people. If somebody doesn't want to vote for me, they should have the right not to vote for me. So I'm not afraid of Zohran Mamdani. By the way, JC, you're a student of history. We've had socialists and communists elected before throughout the city of New York. We had a socialist mayor over 100 years ago. Fiorello LaGuardia was not only the Republican, when Republicans were the most liberal, he was a member of the American Labor Party, the Socialist Party. We've had this all throughout our history. Everyone's having an attack. Bill de Blasio was a socialist. Come on, he wasn't a Democrat.
Curtis.
He took his honeymoon in Havana. He was side by side with that dictator Daniel Ortega, supporting the Sandinistas with his wife Charlene. He was a socialist right down to the marrow of his bone, and he's the biggest supporter of Zohran Mamdani. And Zohran Mamdani says he was the best mayor we've ever had. Come on, JC.
Do you think? No, I mean, it's fine, fair question. I appreciate your no nonsense. You fit right into the program. I got to tell you, Curtis, I'm thinking about Assemblymember Mamdani. I'm watching his videos, and I'm thinking to myself, he's a socialist, he's a democratic socialist, but he creeps up, he walks up to that Marxist line, right? Where he talks about decommodifying housing, where he talks about some of these Marxist principles. I don't know whether, isn't he so much more different than de Blasio, don't you think? Is he just de Blasio on caffeine? What do you think about that? Do you think he's a socialist, or do you agree with President Trump's position that he's more like a communist? What is your position?
He's not a communist. He is a socialist, a self-identified socialist, and he's proud of it. You got to understand this, communist, socialist. It's like, come on. Anti-Semite, yes, I checked that box, and he's doubled down on that. So accept him for what he is, but de Blasio, let's face it, he was like Rumpelstiltskin, half asleep every day. One thing, Zohran, he's got a lot of energy morning, noon, and night. So he's double the fun of Bill de Blasio for socialists, because he'll be out there early in the morning while de Blasio was sleeping. And I don't think Zohran is on the back porch, or would be on the back porch of Gracie Mansion with his wife smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush every night, like de Blasio and Charlene were.
Well, come on. We've invited him on. We've invited him on to come on the hot seat. Haven't heard back. We'll let you know what he says.
Yeah, JC, you know that de Blasio turned what was the second most difficult job in the United States, only the presidency, into a part-time position and destroyed the city, and that's what Zohran Mamdani will do.
Growing up, Curtis, I remember, I grew up in the Bronx. I still live in the Bronx. I remember as a little kid seeing you and the Guardian Angels in the streets with your white shirts and your red font and your red berets, and we're going to talk about the beret in a second. And I associate you with safety. And remember, a lot of these new transplants from all over the country have no idea 1980s, 1990s Bronx. They have no idea about the crack pandemic, so they're living in Kumbaya land. But if I remember looking at you guys and feeling safe when I saw you in the subways and seeing you down Fordham Road. So we associate you with public safety and crime. And I know that you've made it a cornerstone of your platform. How would your approach as mayor be different from the current administration's approach on crime?
First off, you go into the subways every day. Neither of those candidates do. I'm there every day. And we as Guardian Angels also come to the aid of the homeless and the emotionally disturbed that are everywhere in the subway system, in the parks, and the streets. They're everywhere. Oh, Eric Adams found $7 billion to take care of migrants. But we didn't even know. Most of that's city money. But he can find the money to take care of our own, mostly African Americans, some of them veterans. That would be my priority. We need to get these homeless people into a safe shelter. I've been into 2/3 of the shelters. They're not safe. I understand why those homeless people, because it's Darwinian, survival of the fittest, if they're not the strongest in that shelter, it's like being in jail. They flee to the subways, the parks, and the streets, and the emotionally disturbed. Shame on us that we would allow them to live in the subways. Like, remember that woman who was burnt alive like a human torch on December 22nd on the platform, Coney Island, still vividly. On the Dubrina Kwan? How come they don't mention her name? If you were to ask Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner, and Eric Adams, how come you never mention that victim's name? Now, I know Stefanik grilled Kathy Hochul as to who that migrant was, that pyromaniac who put her on fire and then fanned the flames and stood there and watched. but nobody mentions citizens to bring it along because it goes against the narrative that it's our perception that the subways are not safe, the streets are not safe. You should be so grateful. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. It's the safest city we've ever been. I would submit Eric Adams to a drug test when he says stuff like that. He must be in a drug-induced psychosis. JC, I've been in all 315 neighborhoods. I've yet to have one person come up to me and say, Curtis, you got it all wrong. Things are actually getting better. Women especially. I've spent the last 2 days dealing with women who were attacked in the subway. That's the majority of the workers. Without women, you don't have nightlife. They can't afford to take cabs and Ubers around so that they can participate or work in nightlife. So this city is not safe, and that's why that's a priority for me when I become mayor.
Oh, so interesting. You're severely mentally ill. I remember my campaign for public advocate. You're one of the only few people that showed up to that presser. So I could see that being one of your major issues, and you made it an issue on your Instagram a great deal. I got to tell you, Curtis, when we think of Curtis, we think of that red beret, and your signature red beret has become a symbol of your activism. How do you use that in the campaign as a reminder of your street-level work? Do you worry sometimes, Curtis, that it risks making you look more like an activist than a mayor? Talk to me. Honestly, talk to us about that red beret.
Obviously, it means that this has become a source of discussion in the campaign, that I'm up there in the polls, because now people want to meet with me, business leader like Catherine Weil. So Catherine Weil, CEO of the New York Partnership, set up a meeting with me. We had a really great dialogue, and we bonded over the one line I have that none of them have, and they've taken no positions on animal welfare. Catherine Weil said, you know what attracted me to you? The fact that you rescue animals. And she herself is an animal rescuer. A lot of women are like that. I have the first ever independent line, Protect the Animals line. No kill shelters. We're putting animal abusers in jail. That resonates. People of that belief are sometimes one-issue voters. So with Catherine Weil, this is what I did. Took off my beret. Said, Catherine, if this makes you feel better, we'll have our meeting without my beret. If I'm elected mayor, I'm not wearing the beret. I wear this beret because it honors the 6 guardian angels shot and killed in the line of duty, 3 dozen seriously injured, and our service to New Yorkers. And when I'm in the subways and streets and people are in need, they look for the red beret. Yeah. You think somebody in distress or need would be looking at me and say, Curtis, help me, help me. I've fallen in the tracks and I can't get up. No, they recognize that through the symbolism, the iconic value that this red beret has come, that when you're in need, you know you can trust the guardian angel.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's only the second time in my life I've seen you without a beret on. You have a nice head, man. I didn't know.
Oh, well, it's maybe I should cut off all the hair and Simonize it, but
not exactly LL Cool J head, if you know what I'm talking about.
So, right. I also had to do it when I met with the Steamfitters Union that gave up on Cuomo because he gave up in the Democratic primary. And they said, our union rules in our union hall, we have the American flag. You got to take your beret off. And I told their executive board, I was born without a beret. I'll die without a beret. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If that will make you listen to me, I take my red beret off. No biggie.
You mentioned animals and your love for animals. I know Mrs. Sliwa makes it a big issue as well. I've been following her career and her love for animals. You talked about no-kill shelters. And we just recently saw the death of a horse in a horse carriage. What's your plan for that moving forward?
Well, look at this. You have a horse carriage industry that is barbaric. Every other day, there's a horse in distress schlepping around tourists throughout Central Park. There are third world countries now that now have mechanized carriages that do the same thing. So the riders are still making money, except now they're taking the tourists around in mechanized carriages. So, for instance, Bombay used to be the horse-drawn carriage. No more. Mechanized carriages. Third world cities and first world. Chicago has discarded it. New York City is like the only city of major significance that has maintained this barbaric behavior. There is a law in city council that could be passed that would remove the horse-drawn carriages and then allow the carriage riders to drive the mechanized carriages. But the TWU Local 100 leadership represents the horse-drawn carriage riders. And when I asked the conductors and motormen and maintenance people and token booth clerks and track workers, Do you know they're in your union? They have no idea.
No idea. No idea.
Something isn't right about that. I'm telling you, and J.C. Polanco, when I'm mayor, unlike de Blasio, that fake, phony, fraudulent Fugazi, that promised that I will sign an executive order on day one, eliminating it, and then he gets into office and he already knew he couldn't do it. No, I can't do it. I have to put it before city council. And like everything else in the de Blasio 8 years that destroyed our city, he did nothing. And you see, I am going to go before the city council and I'm going to say, and this is how you work with a city council that's hostile to you. You go into their individual districts. You have a town hall meeting. The constituents yell and scream and get all their source out of them. Then you meet with the council person. They get angry at you. Then you sit down the council person and you say, as I learned from Melinda Katz, who is the mother of my two youngest sons, who was councilwoman, head of land use, borough president, and now DA in Queens, you need discretionary funds. What are the big projects you need in your district? And that's when all of a sudden you discuss, I need you for this, I'll give you this, because now you can put your name on garbage cans and act like you gave the community garbage cans with our tax dollars. It's as simple as that, JC.
Wow.
Eric Adams, the only way you get him into a councilmanic district is ask him to cut a ribbon on a new nightclub, and he wouldn't leave until the break of dawn.
So, Curtis, every candidate that comes on Centered is asked this important question. I call it the LinkedIn section or the Help Wanted section. You open up the newspaper and it says, Help Wanted, CEO of New York City government. Job description, supervise a budget of $118 billion, 300,000 employees, 1 million students in our public schools. Any given time, we will have 10 million people in New York City. You're to keep them safe. And you have a GDP of $1.1 trillion. Tell New Yorkers who are making the hiring decision that this campaign is an interview process. Why are you, Curtis Sliwa, qualified to be CEO of New York City?
Well, number one, I've run an international organization for 46 years, the Guardian Angels, in 13 countries, over 130 cities, and here in New York City. And we've been problem-free. We haven't depended on the government. I know how to motivate people, but I'm not omnipotent, like we've seen so many of these people who are lifetime politicians. And that includes Zohran Mamdani, because he acts omnipotent at times. He speaks about things he really doesn't know about. Certainly we've seen Cuomo, we've seen Eric Adams, we saw de Blasio. I will have a staff of experts in the field. I will not bogart them. I will not jump the queue. I will not hold the press conferences and speak about things that I'm vaguely aware of, but I have to sign off on. You never see them allow that. I hear them at times talk about things they know nothing about. That's what got Cuomo into trouble. He started talking in the middle of the lockdown and pandemic about healthcare issues that he had his chairman of the state health board right there, Zucker, an expert, and he wouldn't let him talk. He did all the talking, and he issued an executive order that resulted in 15,000 elderly needlessly dying. Let the experts, let them craft a policy. Let them provide their experience, and then you as mayor, you're ultimately the one who has to sign off on it. But, JC, let's be honest. Could I be any worse than de Blasio, Cuomo, or Adams? Could I be any worse? Adams fined $7 billion for migrants. Where do you get that money, JC? Where do you get that money?
Well, we're trying to get that money back somehow.
Where do you get that money? This is a CEO who said we had no money to put $1 billion back into the police budget that de Blasio had taken out, and danced the tarantella. Oh, that's right. With Richie Torres, who immediately scrubbed all of his social networking. Yeah, he was pro-BLM. He was anti-police. He took $1 billion out of the budget with the controller now, Brad Lander. And oh yeah, the councilman there in Bay Ridge, who always lies and says, I never did, Justin Brannan. I remember. You see, I remember these things. I know where their bones are buried and who buried them. And I'm going to bring all that to the forefront and say, we have to do what's in the best interest of the city, and the experts who've dedicated their life to many of these topics, like yourself in many instances, JC, you should have the ability to craft policy because you know the staff does 98% of the work. Come on, let's be honest.
So
The staff needs to be given the credit for doing all the hard work. The politicians, the elected officials take all the credit. They do nothing but make phone calls and shake down contributors all day. You know that, JC, whether they're Republicans or Democrats.
You have undecided voters and independent voters who are going to make the decision in this election. They're watching today. Why should they trust you over the opponent? What's your message to them?
Because I've been an independent. I was the chairman of the New York State Reform Party. I would have remained in that capacity if not for the vengeance of Andrew Cuomo. God forbid Cynthia Nixon be able to run against me on the Working Families Party line. So he wiped out New York State's independent parties that were one of the things that people looked at in New York, said, hey, they got Green Party, they got the Independence Party, they got the Libertarian Party, the Reform Party. Wiped them all out. But I am a Republican. I represent Republican values. But if you notice in this election cycle, the president, who should stay out of this, he should be like Switzerland and be neutral, has embraced Eric Adams, and his numbers have dropped precipitously because his support was in the black community. It's gone.
Yeah, I see
and
that.
now he's playing
6%.
footsie with Andrew Cuomo. So, Mr. President, I think it's more important that you get Putin and Zelensky in a room and solve the carnage in Europe that could affect the world. Don't worry about the mayoral election in New York City. I trust the people to make the right decision.
This is an opportunity to humanize you. This is the rapid fire section of our program. This is a time for you to give us some straight answers. And hey, who knows? You may convert a couple of undecided and independent voters to come along your side. So, favorite New York baseball team, the New York Mets or the New York Yankees?
Oh, come on, I'm not your politician. New York Yankees. Live or die with the Yankee pinstripe.
Former Yankees bat boy. I asked Andrew Cuomo that last week, and he wouldn't say it. So I was upset. I was upset.
Whoever's in the world.
No, here we go.
Get out
This is a tougher one, Curtis. This is a tougher one. The Buffalo Bills or the New Jersey Giants and New Jersey Jets?
No. A Giant.
Yeah.
I'm a Giant fan.
Oh, so
right?
New Jersey
Even though they're
Giants. I
in
got you. I'm sorry?
Even though they're in Secaucus and Jimmy Hoffa is buried right underneath the goal post there. Giants.
Okay. No, I'll remember that. I'll remember that. The reason why I'm upset about that answer is that when that guy goes to get the beer and the popcorn, where do those taxes go? Future Mayor Sliwa. Exactly.
We take money. What is it? We take money out of the pockets of Jersey residents when they come in and play congestion pricing. I'm the only candidate opposed to congestion pricing, right? Who created it? Cuomo. Who supported it? Adams. Zohran Mamdani probably wants to take more than $9.
I can't wait to ask him. Let me ask you this, though. What's your favorite New York City restaurant?
Oh, my favorite New York City restaurant. Oh, man. Stromboli's Pizzeria. Right
Where?
there on First Avenue or St. Mark's Place. I lived on that when I was on Avenue A in St. Mark's Place, opposite Tompkins Square Park when there were the riots. I love Stromboli's.
I'm going to have to check it out. Let me ask you this. What is the biggest misconception that New Yorkers have about Curtis Sliwa?
Biggest misconception is that I don't know about the city and the government and how it operates. As you know, JC, I've probably known more of the players involved, Democrats and Republicans, of all different persuasions over the years. We can go back to Rudy Giuliani, George Pataki, who I spent a lot of time with and supported against Mario Cuomo. Democrats, Peter Vallone Sr., Melinda Katz. We go all through the... So I got it from both points. They educated me. They helped me understand how the city works. And guess what? The city doesn't run based on the politicians. It runs based on the permanent staff and the people who know how to run the city. The elected officials don't know how to run the city. They depend on those professionals out there who dedicated their lives to making sure New York City works. And I will honor them. And I will make sure they're recognized because they never get recognized, J.C. Polanco. You know that.
I do.
They do all the heavy lifting.
They
make the elected officials look good. When's the last time you saw any of them get recognized?
I haven't seen it. I was there for 2 decades, so I know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So here it goes. The day after Election Day, you've won. Mayor-elect Sliwa. You've shocked the world. who is the first person you call?
Oh, wow. First person I call. I can't call my mommy and daddy. They're no longer with us here in this plane. Who is the first person? Well, my wife will be right with me. So I got to call my three sons. I got to call my three sons, Anthony, Carter, and Hunter, and say, Daddy's the mayor. I need your help. By the way, did you vote for me? Did your mothers let you vote for me?
Hey, Curtis, how can people get involved in your campaign? Where can they follow you? Let them know.
All they have to do is go to Sliwa for FORNYC.com. That's Sliwa for NYC.com. We could use the money if you live in New York City. We need the match. We're not, we don't have the billionaires and zillionaires like the other three do. So I am the people's mayor, and I've earned their vote and I've earned their contribution. And boy, I have momentum now, JC. 6 weeks ago, even you were saying, drop out.
No, I'm giving a fair. Why you do that? I'm giving fair analysis as to the numbers. But Curtis,
look,
Curtis,
I remember, right?
I know, and I'm going to hear about it till I'm 80. I know, Curtis.
Exactly.
We can't thank you enough for joining us today here at Centered with J.C. Polanco.
Again.
Thank you so much. We're inviting all the mayoral candidates to have these conversations. We have 1.1 million voters that are independents, undecideds. We're the second largest group in New York. And we want to have a platform so that people could come in and talk to us about issues that we care about. So we thank you for your time. And we love to see you out there, and good luck on your race.
You got it, JC. And thanks for not wearing that bow tie, because I would have ripped you apart.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Thank you so much for joining us here at Centered with J.C. Polanco. Look, we've invited all of the mayoral candidates to have these conversations so that voters can hear from them directly. And to our listeners, you can watch or listen to our past episodes, including my interview with former Governor Cuomo, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all of your major podcast platforms. Please go to centeredwithjc.com, subscribe today, tell your friends about the program. We're building something special here for independent, centrist voters and those of us of common sense who are just tired of the political extremes. Until next time, thank you.